Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunday School. My name is Miss Bridget, and today we're going to talk about obedience and obeying God's words. So we're going to start with a quick game of Simon Says. Make sure you have enough space around you. Okay, let's get started. Now, the rules to Simon Says are very easy. You do what I say after I say Simon Says. So if I say Simon Says, touch your head, you touch your head. But if I don't say Simon Says, you don't do it. So example, touch your knees. Uh-oh, you're not supposed to touch your knees. I did not say Simon Says. So let's do it one more time the right way. Simon Says, touch your head. Good. Touch your knees. Good. Don't touch your knees. I did not say Simon Says before. Now that you know how to play, let's get started. Simon Says, touch your elbow. Good. Simon Says, put your hands down. Simon Says, touch your ear. Simon Says, put your hands down. Touch your eye. Good. Touch your nose. Simon Says, touch your head. Simon Says, put your hand down. Simon Says, touch your shoulders. Good. Touch the sky. Simon Says, put your hands down. Simon Says, turn around. Good. Simon Says, touch your stomach. Touch your foot. Good. Simon Says, put your hands down. Simon Says, touch your eye. Now touch your back. Simon Says, put your hand down. Simon Says, reach up for the sky. Simon Says, put your hands down. Turn around. Good. Last one. Simon Says, give yourself a big hug. Awesome. Now that we're done with the game, let's get started with today's lesson.
Hi, boys and girls. My name is Miss Monty. Myself and Miss Bridget will be going over this week's lesson, which is Gideon obeyed God. Our unit verse comes from the book of Psalms 119:43, which states, "Help me to understand your instructions, and I will obey them and follow them with all of my heart." Now, the story of Gideon is about someone who is considered weak and not confident in himself, but God has a plan to help him deliver his people. Listen to this story and see how Gideon obeyed God's instruction and helped his people. I hope you enjoy this story, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Okay, guys, we're going to be reading from Judges chapter 6, verse 11 and 7, verse 22. God's people had been captured by the enemy. They cried out to God and he heard them. God sent an angel with the message to Gideon. So again, God is speaking to Gideon with an angel to give him a message. The message said, "You will save Israel from their enemies," says the angel. But Gideon was worried. God said to him, "I will be with you." Gideon listened to God. God told him to tear down his father's altar to a false god and build a new altar to God. Gideon did as God said. So again, we have Gideon here. At first, he was afraid, but he trusted God and obeyed him. Now we're going to see what happens next. While the enemy's armies got closer, Gideon gathered the men who would fight with him. He asked God for a sign that God would be with him. God told Gideon he had too many men in his army. God told Gideon to tell anyone who was afraid to go home. 10,000 men stayed, but there were still too many men. God told Gideon to watch the men drink from the spring. God said anyone who drinks like a dog could go home, but the men who knelt and drank water from their hands could stay. So 300 men became Gideon's army. So again, Gideon asked God for signs to help him make decisions. Gideon listened to God and he got his answers. Lastly, to end the story off, the next morning the men did what Gideon did. When they came to the enemy's camp, each man held a trumpet in one hand, and in the other hand they held a pitcher with a torch inside it. At Gideon's command, they blew their trumpets and broke the pitchers. The enemy's armies began to run, cry out, and turn against one another. Every man in the enemy's camp ran away. Gideon obeyed God, and God won victory for Israel. So, from this story, we learn that you have to listen and obey God, even when it's scary or you don't know what the outcome will be. As we can see, Gideon, he was worried, he was scared, but he asked God and he listened to God, and God gave him his answers. So, it's a choice to listen to God. Make the good choice, guys. Have a good day.